Hi, very good morning. I'm Dr. Janak Patel, MD, General Physician. All my video lectures are mainly for educative purpose. Today we'll be dealing with one of the another oral hypoglycemic agent very commonly utilized in India, sulfonylurea. It is also called secretagogus. We'll be discussing this molecule in little detail so that you can understand and you can decide regarding use and when not to use. So we'll be talking today regarding sulfonylurea. Under this heading, introduction, mechanism of action, side effects, indications and contraindications. Now you can see in this particular chart that sulfonylurea and biguanides were the first molecule which were being introduced in the market for treatment of type 2 diabetes mellitus as oral hypoglycemic agents, and as the time passes, after many years, suddenly there was an outburst of many oral hypoglycemic agents including alpha glucosidase inhibitor, pioglitazones, meglitides, GLP-1 receptor agonist, amylin analogs, DPP-4 inhibitors, etc. Of this, still sulfonylurea is one of the commonest molecule which is being utilized in market and particularly in India. There are two structures, sulfonyl structures and urea structure. That's why it is called sulfonylurea. So sulfonylurea is the oldest and largest group of oral hypoglycemic agents, and this particular was first introduced by a person, Janborn. He observed that some sulfonyl preparation for antibacterial property used to give rise to hypoglycemia in experimental animal, and then from that particular property the synthesis of sulfonylurea started and it was introduced in clinical practice for treatment of type 2 diabetes mellitus. Initially it was divided into three generations: first generation, second generation and third generation. First generation was including tolbutamide and chlorpropamide, which are now nearly almost outdated. Second generation was including gliclazide, glebenclamide and glipizide, and third generation was called glimepiride. But nowadays they use only two groups, first generation and second generation. First generation is not commonly used today in practice because of long duration of action and adverse effect like tolbutamide, chlorpropamide, torazamide and azithromycin. All these are outdated. While second generation, which are more potent than first generation, like glyburide, glipizide, gliclazide, glimepiride, these are the four common molecules which are utilized in everyday practice. And they are called secretagogus because they stimulate pancreas to release insulin. So sulfonylureas are drugs which are effective only when more than 30% or more than 30% or more than 30% of beta cells which remains in pancreas. So sulfonylurea will be acting on beta cells in pancreas and stimulate to release insulin. And of this, the most potent drugs are second generation of sulfonylurea, that is glipizide, gliclazide, glebenclamide and glimepiride. At present, the most common drug which is being utilized is glimepiride. This is normal action glucose will be uptaken at GLUT2. After entering glucose inside, it will be metabolized by glucose 6 phosphate pathway. You will get glycolysis, ATP generation. This ATP generation will stimulate potassium channel, which is called ATP sensitive potassium channel, and it will inhibit that potassium channel, which will give rise to depolarization. And because of depolarization, you will have a calcium channel which will open up. Calcium will enter inside, which will stimulate the granule translocation, exocytosis, and insulin will be released from beta cell. This is what is happening in any normal person. For that, beta cell has to be intact. Now there are sulfonylurea receptor which are present on the beta cells. When sulfonylurea combines with that receptor, it will close this particular potassium channel. It will give rise to depolarization. And because of depolarization, now calcium channel will open up. It will stimulate granule localization, translocation, exocytosis, and insulin will be released. Hence, it will be acting identical like ATP molecule, where ATP molecule which was closing ATP sensitive potassium channel, here now potassium channel will be closed by sulfonylurea, which will get attached to sulfonylurea receptor. So sulfonylurea will bind to the receptor, ATP sensitive potassium channel. It will block that, and because of blocking, you will have depolarization, which will increase calcium influx, degranulation of insulin granules, and insulin will be released into bloodstream. So that is the entire way. This is explained in the same way. So normally what is happening and what will happen if the sulfonylurea gets attached to sulfonylurea receptor 1. Same thing is explained here. And this is meglitide, how it is acting. So it will be best effective in type 2 diabetes mellitus. It will not be effective in type 1 because beta cells are not functioning. There are decrease in beta cell. So insulin is released from beta cells that will produce hypoglycemia, because insulin will now be acting at the different areas and reduces the glucose level. Also, it reduces the hepatic glucose production, and it also increases the insulin sensitivity. These two effects will be additional benefit as far as sulfonylurea is concerned. So sulfonylurea will block potassium ATP channel. By blocking that on a beta cell, it will stimulate the insulin release. On a long-term use, because this particular is also present in the heart, so there is long-term use, there is always a risk of mortality because of depolarization in a myocardium. If we just go through that, the mechanism of action is via closing of a potassium ATP channel in a beta cell, which will cause depolarization, degranulation, and insulin release. It is well tolerated, and there is also evidence that there is a reduction in cardiovascular event and mortality in UKPDS study. Means there is a little cardiovascular safety, but at the same time, some of the sulfonylurea used to produce cardiovascular complications. Now, the most important disadvantage, because it is relatively glucose independent stimulation of insulin secretions. Once the drug is given, there will be insulin secretions. and it will give rise to hypoglycemia. So hypoglycemia is very, very common. Because of that hypoglycemia, person will have increased appetite, there will be weight gain, and it is also responsible for beta cell exhaustion. So you can have a primary failure and secondary failure. The only one advantage, the cost is very low, and as it stimulates the insulin secretion, the HbA1c reduction is much more than other oral hypoglycemic agents. So it is also considered as poor man drug, and in India there are a lot of people with lower socioeconomic, so this drug has become the common drug of choice in that particular lower socioeconomic group. And these are the four molecules: glyburide, glipizide, gliclazide, and glimepiride. The most common molecule which is utilized at present is glimepiride. So advantage we have already mentioned, it is a potent glucose lowering agent because it stimulates the insulin production. Disadvantage, hypoglycemia, which is more with glyburide. Glyburide is also contraindicated in renal impairment, and glyburide also impairs ischemic preconducting in the heart in UKPDS study. So it was proven that there are some side effects of glyburide. Now another advantage, you can use as a monotherapy or you can combine with metformin, you can combine with other drugs also. Even with insulin also you can combine. But whenever insulin is started, the dose of sulfonylurea should be reduced. So this is little bit regarding glipizide. Glipizide is working by stimulating the pancreas to release insulin, and also it increases the tissue sensitivity to insulin, that is we call. It is also partially insulin sensitizer. It is rapidly absorbed when given orally. The half-life is 2 to 4 hours, and by and large glipizide will be acting for nearly 12 hours. So some of the glipizides you will have to give BD, and some are slow release preparation which you can give OD. It is used mainly to treat type 2 diabetes mellitus. The effect begins within half an hour and can last up to 24 hours. Regarding glimepiride, same as glipizide, the patient who are taking certain sulfonylurea such as chlorpropamide and glimepiride should not drink alcohol because it will give rise to facial flushing, and person will also have nausea, vomiting. Glimepiride is little longer acting. It is less preferred than metformin, but when combined with metformin, the effect is better. You can see here the second generations are more potent than the first generation. These are tolbutamide, chlorpropamide. These two drugs are almost outdated from the market. So side effects wise, the most common side effect is hypoglycemia, particularly in long-acting sulfonylurea, and because of that you will have a very high chance of weight gain. Also, because of sulfa molecule, there is a chance of allergic reaction who are sensitive to sulfa. So you can get right from skin rashes to what we call as SJ syndrome or Steven Johnson syndrome. SJ syndrome may occur in person who are very sensitive to sulfa. So hypoglycemia, GI upset like nausea, vomiting, diarrhea or constipation. You can have hypersensitivity to sulfa like rash, itching, urticaria, and very rare is SJ syndrome. Weight gain is very, very common because of repeated hypoglycemia. Person will eat more and there will be weight gain. Chloropropamide is having a disulfiram like reaction, and it can also produce cholestatic jaundice and even in some cases dilutional hyponatremia, that is like SIDH. When you give in a large dose, it can be toxic, it can produce bone marrow depression also. Now this sulfonylurea has got drug interaction like sulfonamides, salicylates, clofibrilate and phenylbutazone, where there is a protein displacement. As far as enzyme inhibition is concerned, it will be inhibiting MAO inhibitors and azole antifungal action inhibitions, and it will also interfere with urinary excretion of proben acid, sulfenpyrazone and allopurinol. So it has got lot of drug interaction with good number of drugs, but in your everyday practice, sulfonamide and salicylates comes topmost on the list. Clofibrate, once in a while it is utilized for lowering lipids. Allopurinol will be utilized very frequently for hyperuricemia and antifungal drugs in case of fungal infections. It has got also drug interaction with glucocorticoids, thiazide diuretic, loop diuretics, oral contraceptive pills, where because of interaction with these drugs there will be increase in glucose level, while it will decrease the rifampicin phenantoin sodium metabolism, increases the metabolism of these drugs, and so sulfonamides, rifampicin, phenobarbital, propranolol, warfarin, you will have a drug interaction. So you have to keep in mind that whenever you are using sulfonylurea, there will be decreased action of sulfonylurea because of this drug interaction. So indication wise, only one indication, type 2 diabetes mellitus. It is not effective in insulin deficiency like type 1 diabetes, and in a person who has got a damage to pancreas like chronic pancreatitis or after post pancreatomy. Now as far as efficacy is concerned, first drug always preferred is metformin, so it comes as a second drug of choice after metformin, and then is DPP4 and alpha glucosidase inhibitor as far as efficacy is concerned. So that is the use of sulfonylurea. In a cost also, metformin is little cheaper as compared to sulfonylurea, so it becomes a second drug of choice. And as far as hypoglycemic effect is concerned, it is more powerful, so it will become the last drug of choice to decrease the incidence of hypoglycemia. So you should avoid sulfonylurea in the person who are more prone to develop hypoglycemia, or you will have to reduce the dose of sulfonylurea. And among the weight gain also, it is the last drug of choice because there is a good amount of weight gain because of use of sulfonylurea. So the two major drawback, weight gain and hypoglycemia. Now glimepiride versus gliclazide, you cannot compare those two. Now contraindication in type 1 diabetes, during pregnancy, and person with severe liver disease and kidney disease. It should be contraindicated, particularly in type 1 diabetes, during pregnancy, and person who has got cirrhosis of liver or severe end stage liver disease and stage 3, stage 4 in sickle. So this is an entire summary. Sulfonylurea are absorbed by intestine after oral intake. This drug binds to the serum protein and are metabolized by liver and are excreted in urine and feces. If we talk about glimepiride, action is almost for 24 hours. Main use is in type 2 diabetes. Sulfonylurea can be used to treat some types of neonatal diabetes. It will lower HbA1c much more than other oral hypoglycemic agent. Side effect, we already mentioned two major drawback is hypoglycemia and weight gain. Other side effects like nausea, skin reaction, hemolytic anemia, and little danger if the person is having ischemic heart disease. Alcohol intolerance, mainly with tolbutamide groups. Long-term use of first generation sulfonylurea can lead to secondary failure, more common with that. Renal impairment is particularly a problem because in glimepiride you cannot use in a person with a CKD grade 3 and 4, and contraindication is particularly you will beta blocker is contraindicated. You should not use also sulfonamides in the person who are having cardiovascular comorbidity. Little bit regarding meglitine. It is also one of the drug but very poorly utilized. It also acts via the same. It is one of the secretagogues. It will also produce hypoglycemia and weight gain. It acts by closing the potassium ATP channel and depolarizes the cell membrane of beta cells, then degranulation and release of insulin. So it is a secretagogus. Repaglinide and nataglinide are the two other molecules. So hypoglycemic risk is little bit less. It stimulates the insulin release same as sulfonylurea. It is administered before meal to control postprandial blood glucose. Not very commonly utilized in Indian market. Mainly it is said that no meal, no drug. Whenever you take meal, take one pill. So that is the advantage in the person who are doing fasting. So it is called Ramzan drug. Again, well absorbed by oral administration, metabolized by liver, excreted through bile, mainly used in type 2 diabetes mellitus for postprandial peak control. Side effects is hypoglycemia and weight gain. Repaglinide is indicated only in a selected, should be avoided in liver disease. There is a drug interaction with all these molecules, particularly antifungal drugs. Also, there will be drug interaction with barbiturate, carbamazepine, rifampicin, particularly when you are using meglitine. So now if you look at the drug for any oral hypoglycemic agent, we look at certain things. Sulfonylurea is potent. It will be effective for fasting as well as postprandial. So that is for sulfonylurea. It is easily available. Cost is economical. If you look at the safety side, hypoglycemia is a major drawback. Liver toxicity, there is no liver toxicity. Cardiovascular safety wise, glimepiride is proven to be cardiovascular safe, but some drugs, some sulfonylurea are not cardiovascular safe. During pregnancy, you should not use. In severe CKD also, particularly glimepiride, you cannot use. Improvement in lipid profile is question mark. Weight gain is there. That is a major drawback for all sulfonylurea and particularly second generation sulfonylurea. and even beta cell preservation is also a question mark. So hypoglycemia, pregnancy, weight gain, and beta cell exhaustion are the drawback of sulfonylurea. Drug interaction, there is a good amount of drug interaction with lot of drugs, and the one advantage, sulfonylurea can be combined with any other oral hypoglycemic agent or even with insulin. That is one advantage. So it does not fit with ideal oral hypoglycemic agents, but still the one biggest advantage is cost. Being a very economical, it is one of the molecule very commonly utilized in everyday practice. So hypoglycemia quite common, weight gain quite common. In presence of renal complications, CKD again drawback. As far as GI side effect is concerned, almost neutral. Cardiac safety wise, some sulfonylurea are cardiovascular safe, particularly say glimepiride. Some sulfonylurea, they are notorious. As far as bone is concerned, it is neutral. So disadvantage mainly hypoglycemia, weight gain, and safety in pregnancy, severe liver disease, and severe kidney disorders, question mark. Yes, metformin and sulfonylurea initially was the first drug of choice. Now that has been changed too. You can see sulfonylurea choice has gone to the last in person with atherosclerotic complications, heart failure, CKD. Again, the choice has gone to the bottom. Also, if you compelling indications like the person who develops hypoglycemia, sulfonylurea will be contraindicated. Weight gain also contraindicated. Only in a cost factor, being a little cheaper drug, it is a drug of choice. So indirectly, sulfonylurea has got very few advantage. Powerful, secretococcus, and cost factor. But also, if the person who has got decreased amount of beta cells, less effective, and it can produce secondary failure. This is Indian guidelines which has been proven that it is not utilized as a first drug. Only use as a first drug is because of cost effective financial problems. Otherwise, you can see that by and large, it is in a red line, very close to the red line. So disadvantage, glucocentric, durability is less, hypoglycemia is big issue, weight gain is big issue, beta cell exhaustion, etc. and cardiovascular safety. These are the disadvantage. And advantage, yes, there are a lot of studies of very good glucose reduction, etc. And randomized trial did not give a bad cardiovascular signal. So you can decide what is good for your patient. So in conclusion, glimepiride has got dual mode of action. It can act on fasting as well as postprandial. It can be combined with oral hypoglycemic agent as well as insulin. It has got glucose lowering action, plus also it is said that it is also having insulin sensitizer. When combined with metformin, it is having a good effect, and efficacy and safety profiles are good. It can be used very nicely in type 2 diabetes mellitus, and it is also the drug of choice in different guidelines. So I end my lecture here. Thank you all for taking out time. I know that your time is valuable and I appreciate that for spending some of the time with me. As sulfonylurea is the most common molecule utilized in everyday practice and particularly in India, being a very cheap drug, it is quite effective, it is powerful. You can combine with any oral hypoglycemic agent. You can even combine with insulin. But you must keep something in your mind, that is some of the common side effects like prolonged hypoglycemia. Being a longer acting drug, you can have long duration of hypoglycemia. Weight gain is quite common. As well as you should keep in mind that on a long term use, there are some side effects, particularly beta cell exhaustion. That should be in your back of your mind. So think of all those and then decide the use of sulfonylurea in your patient. If you like this particular lecture, please press button like, and you can share with your friends. You can give your suggestions. See you in next lecture.